In this clip I'll look at role models, using the octagon model of a person to work out what sort of characteristics we should be looking for. We all have people we look up to and want to emulate, but how often do we take a long hard look at why? So let's think about the sort of characteristics we might expect in an ideal person, or community, or nation for that matter. Surely these people would have those characteristics where their faculties are fully and positively exercised and in balance. If so, the 10 faculties of the octagon can be a useful tool for identifying the characteristics. Let's look at them one by one and how they could be described in 2 words that are not repeated, treating this as a sort of exercise in vocabulary expansion. Starting off with the observation faculty, we would expect our ideal person to use their senses so that they are fully aware of what's going on. We could call that characteristic acute perception. Going on to the monitoring faculty, we could expect our model to be able to distinguish subtle differences in the world around them, identifying and analysing what is needed, not needed, or missing. That we could call critical discernment. If we now consider our interpretation faculty, that is how we think, we would expect our ideal mind to be used to its maximum and to analyse things completely rationally and logically. This characteristic we could call clear cognition. Moving one step more to the judging faculty, we would expect our ideal person to evaluate all the evidence before making wise choices or decisions. In other words, we would expect them to exercise fine judgment. Jumping across to the creative faculty, we might hope that the ideal artists among us would create art forms in a way that is as innovative and as uplifting as possible for others. This we could call inspired creativity. Going on to the expression faculty, we might hope that our ideal person was able to communicate their thoughts and feelings in a controlled and understandable way. That characteristic we could call balanced expression. Now we come to the direction faculty. Someone exercising this fully would be helping or guiding others in a way that is ideal for their situation. In other words, showing wise counsel. Now we come to the doing or application faculty. And here our ideal model would be expected to use their body to its maximum potential to implement things. This we could call mastered actions. With regard to the faculty of reflecting, we would expect this to be used fully in deep thought, meditation and prayer, realizing the deeper meaning of everything. In this case, such a person has profound spirituality. And finally, considering the relating faculty, we would expect our role model to show unconditional love to other people, which we could summarize as caring relationships. So there you have one recipe for 10 ingredients that make up the ideal person. I'm sure you can think of other characteristics and ways of describing them. The words I have used could be made simpler, but as I said, I wanted to expand my vocabulary and try not to repeat any words. Talking of vocabulary, we have in fact many words to describe people who are at the peak of what they do, going for gold, so to speak. Here are some of them, again related to the faculty with which they seem most closely related. Take a moment to look at them. Who are your role models, and what are the faculties you have most empathy with? Why do you admire these people? Is it for a characteristic not mentioned here? Sometimes our role models are those that promote the self rather than building up others. It's a good exercise to ponder over our motivation for wanting to be like somebody else. Often the best approach is simply to be ourselves in the best possible way, and to do that by emulating all the good characteristics amongst our family, friends, colleagues and acquaintances, amongst whom we live our daily lives.